First things first, this isn't a video about who should split the bill on a first date. That's the man's job, and if you disagree with that, then this video probably won't be for you. What we're talking about here is what happens after that brief dating stage, and as you begin to enter a relationship, and you begin to figure out, what does our exchange look like here? And you might think this is just about money, but as I explain myself here, you'll realize that it's not just about money, but we are talking about value, because every relationship is an exchange of value. And I don't mean this in a cynical sense. I don't mean this even in terms of hypergamy. But obviously, we all get value from the people that are in our lives, otherwise we would no longer choose to have them in our lives. And nowhere is this more true than in a romantic relationship, because it is the most consensual relationship that you will enter into. Did I say that right? Consensual? It's the relationship where you consent to being in it the most compared to the others. Now let's start off with dating. So you go on your first date and you pay the bill. You go on the second date, probably do the same. By the time you get to the third or fourth date, many women will start to offer to split the bill, or they might say, let me get this one, you got the last two. But this doesn't always happen. And recently I've been dating a lady who never offered to pay the bill, never even pulled out a credit card once in the 2 months that we've been dating. And this experience has taught me a lot about what 50-50 should look like in a relationship and what men and women bring to the table. So maybe you've had a similar experience, but so far in the majority of my dating life, it's been the case that I'll pay for the first couple of dates, and then as things go on, the woman will start to offer, and we might go to, if we were in a relationship, splitting things or taking turns. It's a pretty normal way to do things today because men and women typically earn the same amount of money. But with this lady I was dating recently, she just never offered to pay for anything. And when the bill came, even by the time we're on our 5th or 6th date, or we're just out getting coffee together, you know, we're beyond that stage, she never would suggest paying. It was always down to me. And at first that kind of not threw me, but I thought, okay, this is interesting. This is a bit different to how most women operate. But then as our relationship evolved and we spent more time together, I began to realize that she was reciprocating, but she was reciprocating in her own way. And things actually were 50-50. And what do I mean by reciprocating? Well, when I would go over to hers, she would cook an elaborate meal from scratch. And she wouldn't ask me for money for the groceries. That was just her way of showing her love. When she would be with me, she would give me a massage. She would take care of the washing up after dinner. I even remember one time a few weeks ago, I went up to the library in our building to do some work. Actually, I did a call with my community. And I come downstairs and she's not only made the bed, but she's actually cleaned my apartment, completely unrequested. And she would do really nice random gestures like bake fresh cookies, bake an apple pie, just these really beautiful things. And I began to realize that because I had taken care not only of her emotionally and I'd treated her well, but I'd taken care of the bill when we went out to dinner and provided nice experiences, she was reciprocating in her own way. And what this taught me is that 50-50, those 50s don't have to be the same thing. And in fact, it's much better if they are not. Today, we exist in a very androgynous economy. It's expected that what men and women contribute should be the same. And in the mission for equality, we've actually ignored some of the most beautiful and important differences between men and women. And we see this very obviously financially. When couples talk about 50-50, maybe they are sharing the rent, maybe they are sharing the grocery bills, maybe they are sharing all of these different things. And then maybe they share the house chores. He does the hoovering, she does the mopping. I'm sure you've had these kind of dynamics in your relationships before, and so have I. And I found that on the whole, they don't work very well. And here's why. When you try and split everything down the middle, you ignore the beauty of polarity. You ignore the polarity between men and women. And what happens is women get thrown into a very masculine energy, taking care of money, making plans, making sure things are organized. And the man gets thrown into a feminine energy, where he is cleaning the house, cooking, taking care of dogs and children. And of course, I'm not saying that men shouldn't play a role domestically, but women, don't encourage your man to do things that emasculate him, because you are going to destroy the very essence of what made you attracted to him. And likewise, men, if you want a woman to be in her feminine, relaxed energy, you can't give her the masculine responsibility of paying the bills or picking up the check. Now, everybody has their own economic situation. I'm not trying to prescribe a one-fits-all approach here. However you manage your money in your relationship is totally up to you. But I do want you to think about this. Think about what you bring to the relationship, what value you add, and then think about how you want your partner to reciprocate that. Let's say you are the breadwinner. Let's say you are paying the mortgage or the rent. What do you want your wife to do, or your future wife if you're thinking long term? What do you want her to do that will not only make you feel like she's reciprocating your efforts, but that will also make you feel respected and, very importantly, and more attracted to her? And women, if you're watching, you can do the same thing vice versa as well. What I began to realize over the last couple of months as I figured out the dynamics of me with this lady was that what I brought to the table could be something that came about because of my natural masculine energy. And then what she brought to the table in forms of reciprocation came about as a result of her natural feminine energy. And the result is two people working together, making each other's lives much richer in very different ways, because we are very different people. As a man, what I need is very different from what she needs as a woman. So let's not create this androgynous 50-50 situation where we think that what we can bring to the table as men and women is the exact same, and what we need from our partners is also the exact same. If you believe that, then it's time to undo a few decades of brainwashing. But I genuinely think that by the end of this video, if you didn't already feel this way, you probably do, because you just see it as inherent common sense. And if there wasn't such a big difference between men and women, then we wouldn't make such a big deal about gender in the first place. So I want to know from you, how would you like your partner to reciprocate your efforts? Let me know down in the comments. It doesn't matter if you have a partner already or you don't, whether you're single, got a girlfriend, or you're married, or maybe you're even divorced, or maybe you're even bereaved. Let me know down there. I want to know, when you make the effort, when you play that masculine role, when you provide, protect, whatever that looks like for you, how do you want your woman to reciprocate? Very interested to read your responses. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.